In this video, we are going to be backtesting euro dollar over the 2024 price action. We're going to be using the same strategy that we've recently used on the channel to backtest pound US dollar, but over the 2022 price action, which got us these results. We had a 51% win rate, 58 total trades using a mechanical 1-to-3 risk reward system, and that's the same system we're going to be applying in this video to test the euro dollar 2024 price action. So guys, let's not waste any more time. Let's head right over to the charts and let's get straight into the video. Right guys, so thanks for joining me here over on the charts. We'll get right into things, starting from where we left off last time. So if you guys remember from last time, where we left off, we were saying that price was slightly more ambiguous because we had basically two ways of viewing price here on the higher time frame. The first one was that this was a higher time frame change of character. Then price pulled back into this area of supply up here. So the first way of viewing this is that this was a retracement to tap into the supply to form a lower high and for price to target these lows. But equally, you could also say that this was just a grab of some previous lows in an overall bullish market, and then this retracement back down that we've had recently. You can see here we also had like a daily change of character. If we mark that on, right? So you could say that this was a sweep, this was a daily change of character, and then this was just a retracement to take out some previous liquidity. You can see to the left, price did end up kind of tapping into this daily imbalance and reacted to it. So a little bit more ambiguous. And one of the things I always tell the guys inside VIP is that when we trade, we want to be allowing the market to show us what it wants to do rather than trying to predict exactly where it's going to go. And that's one of the keys as traders. Our job is not to predict exactly where price is going to go, is to react to price and basically just let it show you what it wants to do and then take trades based off that. So I'm going to be keeping an open bias here, starting the session off. What we could say though is, obviously, like daily time frame wise, we've had kind of this daily breaker structure. We then had price come up, grab some previous highs. So it does seem quite intent on coming back towards these previous lows down here. If we jump over to some of the lower time frames, again, you can see very clear bearish momentum coming in, with this being the most recent bearish breaker structure after this initial change of character up here. So I actually am favoring further shorts going into this session. Maybe if we can see a retracement up into the supply, for example. I can't really see any reason here to the left why it would reverse. There's nothing significant here. So yeah, I'm actually going to look for some more selling opportunities going into this session. This is my first point of interest, which is a clear area of supply. So yeah, let's see if price can make its way up to that area. There we go. So price has tapped into this area. As always, I'm jumping over to the M5 chart to get my entries, and I need to see an M5 change of character. Let's see if we get that. All right, price is coming a bit higher first, it seems. All right, there we go. So we started to see that shift over to the downside. This was our first change of character. And then in terms of actual entries on this, we could look at this region of supply right here. If price pulls back into it. Let's see, it might just want to continue further down. Right, it's coming up quite impulsively. It's technically a valid trade though, so I'm going to set my limit here. There's no reason to wait or anything like that. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to add on the session indicator, because if this is the Asian session, then I wouldn't be able to enter. Let me just change the settings real quick. Don't want any of these lines. All right, there we go. So yeah, this is the London session, so this would be a completely valid trade. Only thing I am cautious of is that we have Asia high resting above. I'm going to actually leave this and wait for a confirmation. Yeah, there you go. So price has now, what I was looking for essentially here was the fact that we had left Asia high above. So we've now seen price take out the top of this supply zone. Another tip for you guys as well is that make sure to monitor when these areas of supply and demand are swept like this, so meaning that if price goes a little bit higher, it's typically going to give a reaction here rather than from the actual supply zone itself, because sometimes it reacts from the supply zone, gives this initial reaction as like an inducement, then comes higher, grabs the supply zone, and that's when you get that move. So let's have a look if we can get a confirmation here. Obviously still waiting for the same thing as usual, which is the M5 change of character, which we've just had. In this case, I'm going to wait for a retracement into the imbalance a little bit, because obviously we don't want to enter all the way down here. The risk reward would not be worth it. And ideally as well, my rule, if you guys aren't familiar, is that I do a mechanical 1 to 3 TP. In this case, I want to get a 1 to 3 before this previous low down here is hit. So I'm going to slightly adjust the risk reward on this. Essentially, what I'm looking to do here is enter anywhere on this imbalance. What I don't personally like doing is trying to get really sniper precise entries from the supply, for example. It could retrace into there, but I would rather just, you know, be in the trade rather than miss a completely valid setup because I was trying to be too accurate. So yeah, let's see if this retraces for us. If not, we can look for a different entry instead. All right, let's see. I would also monitor to see how it reacts if this liquidity is swept. Notice how this is the last liquidity before you have that imbalance. The imbalance which is kind of before the change of character. Yeah, there you go. So see how price is reacting to that. Let's see if lower time frame. Yeah, and lower time frame has presented an entry as well. So I'm actually going to try and get an initial entry here. If we can see a retracement back up. We've also had Asia high swept at the London Open as well. So this could be a nice trade. Obviously 1 to 3 mechanical TP as always. All right, no, so that one lost. We are now tagged into that initial trade though. So let's see how this one goes. And yeah, as with all of my trades, I just hold them to stop loss or take profit because, yeah, there you go, TP hit on that one. Because what I've personally found is that with this system, the best approach is to hold until stop loss or take profit using a mechanical 1 to 3 rather than doing some active management on the trade. So for example, rather than taking partials or rather than taking break even or anything like that. Nice, so we've now seen that move over to the downside. Price does seem pretty intent on coming for these previous lows down here. So I'm going to look for some more shorts selling opportunities into that area. This is quite late in the day though, so I'm going to follow to the next London session. All right, cool. So next London session has opened. If we're following this lower time frame structure, we've had this being our most recent break structure. Price has retraced up. It has grabbed some previous highs, including the Asia high. So this might be a nice selling opportunity here. We also have an area of supply slightly above if price wants to go a bit higher. So yeah, I'm going to monitor for an entry here. Change of character in this case would be this previous low. All right, now it's this previous low. It also tapped the supply, so a nice extra confidence as well. There we go, very nice. Perfect confirmation right there. Lots of momentum coming in, so all we need now is a retracement up into a more of a premium, and then we can go for a 1 to 3. I might put my entry a bit lower down actually, just so I can basically align a 1 to 3 with these previous lows, because I don't want to target past the previous lows because there's a high likelihood price reacts to it. Damn, so no pullback on that one. Analysis was spot on though. As you can see, price ended up selling off. Alright, so if we get rid of this, I'm going to go to the next day because this is late on Friday. I wouldn't be trading late on a Friday. So, right, in terms of more selling opportunities. I'm cautious of the fact that we have kind of all of this built up liquidity. We do have an area of supply just above as well. Maybe price wants to do a deeper retracement. But yeah, this is not really something I would sell below. There's no reason for me. Yeah, there you go. So price is doing a bigger retracement. We've got all of this liquidity being taken out in an overall bearish market. It's kind of left these equal lows below. So yeah, price is now tapped into this supply. Let's have a look and monitor for an entry. There you go. So perfect entry right there. We've had our change of character. All we need to see now is a retracement back up into the imbalance. So I'm going to set my limit here. Stops above the high. 1 to 3 mechanical TP as per usual. Yeah, let's see if price retraces. Also, notice again how price didn't respect the supply itself. It swept the high of the supply zone, and that's when you get the reaction. That's typically what is going to happen with these supply and demand zones rather than price respecting them perfectly. All right, it's still valid at the moment. Let's see if it wants to retrace. Like I said before, I'm not a fan of trying to get an ultra sniper entry from the supply itself. I would rather just enter on this kind of whole area. Let's see if it tags us in. Yeah, right there. So in this case, it did tap the supply, but like I said, I'm not a fan of getting these ultra sniper precise entries. If you only traded London session, you could have waited for this Asia high plus change of character and then entered from this imbalance above the liquidity. And again, gone for a 1 to 3. Which I would have missed, but TP was hit on that first trade. A very nice trade. Again, just a simple recap. Very simple trade. I use the same process on all of my trades. Point of interest, M5 change of character plus imbalance, 1 to 3 mechanical TP. And it's as simple as that. So yeah, now looking for more continuations down towards the equal lows, just following this lower time frame structure. What time is this? Going into New York. Let's see if we can get a pullback. Alright, maybe if we can see sweep of this high. This is the last bit of liquidity before this imbalance, which is why I'm using it as a point of interest. If not, we also have a supply zone just above. But yeah, I'm going to monitor to see how it reacts to this area here. Yeah, there you go. Perfect entry right there. We've had our change of character. After the sweep of liquidity, I'm going to enter here, just market execution, because the risk reward is probably already worth it. Let's have a look. Can we get a 1 to 3 before the low? Yep, we can. So I'm just going to enter here. So essentially with my entries, just a quick pause. All I'm looking for is an M5 change of character plus imbalance, and then I'm looking to enter anywhere within the imbalance as long as the risk reward is worth it. Sometimes I wait for a retracement into, for example, the supply itself. But that would only be if, for example, entering just straight here would not be worth it. But in this case, it is. Yeah, in that case, it did come back up and tap the supply. Oh, we're still in somehow. So miraculously managed to stay in that trade. You can see price grab the high one more time. But yeah, solid trade. TP hit on that one as well. Basically just playing off this liquidity. This was the last bit of liquidity before the imbalance, so I thought price may react to it. So if we now, I think this is London session the following day. So again, I'm looking to take price down and target these previous lows. If you look on higher time frame, there's not really any reason why price wouldn't get there. So yeah, let's look for some more selling opportunities down. All right, so we've now had another break of structure as well. Can't really see a clear point of interest at the moment. Actually, yeah, so price has now grabbed that low. So we can get rid of all of this because this is now internal price action. So yeah, back to being slightly more ambiguous because we could see one of two things here. We could either see just the continuations, or this could be a wick out of previous lows for higher prices and for price to maybe come back towards this previous liquidity here. given that it has reacted to this daily demand to the left. So like I said, a bit more ambiguous. At the moment, there's nothing I would be doing here, so I'm just going to let price play out a little bit. If it starts to break higher, maybe we can look for some longs now that that liquidity has been taken. Actually, yeah, so if we go to London, so we've had, notice here, M15 is shifting back bullish. We've had it come down, hold the demand. I don't know why it did that, but this would have been a perfect trade, but it, for some reason, fast forward slightly past the London Open. Let's look for another entry here. Maybe from this demand. Plus confirmation though, as always. And maybe if we can see this logo regrabbed plus a change of character, that would be a nice trade. Or just a straight break structure from here. All right, no, it's coming lower. Let's go to London session. By the way, I need to explain this as well. For anybody that doesn't know, I live in the UK, so I don't trade Asia because it's overnight. And Asia session on Eurodollar and GBP USD tend to just consolidate anyway, so it's not really worth trading. Could have got a sell from there, actually. That would have been quite nice. Right, next. If price can hold this demand, I would still consider longs, but let's have a look. I think now, given that we've got these equal lows, I would want to see Asia low taken first. Unless it shows momentum like that. So yeah, if it can break this high, I would consider the longs. Yeah, there we go. So we've had our change of character. We've got this area of imbalanced demand. I'm on the M15 here for the entry just because it's a bit clearer than the M5 in this case, but you can see the M15 lower high is this same lower high on the M15, so it doesn't really make much difference whether you're using the M15 or the M5. This would be the entry, entering on that demand, and as always going for a mechanical 1 to 3. Oh, let's see. Still holding at the moment. Come on, one last push up. Yeah, there we go, nice. So again, coming in quite clutch there. Price almost tapped us out, but smart stop loss placement kept us in the trade. That's what I always like to do, by the way. I won't place my stop just below the low or the high that caused the change of character. I'll allow a little bit of breathing room just so that, you know, in situations like this, which very frequently happen on Eurodollar, gold does it a lot as well, you manage to still stay in the trade despite price wicking out your entry area. So yeah, very clearly now you can see all of this momentum coming in after price wicked the lows. So definitely looking for price to continue a bit higher here. Probably now at least to target this previous liquidity. I don't really see why it wouldn't reach for that previous liquidity. Let's go to London session. It has taken this previous liquidity. Maybe we could see some sells here, but I am still conscious of the fact that it's still like quite bullish here, and there's a lot of momentum coming in. So yeah, let's see. This is kind of like the last point I would consider sells from. If we're looking for buys, I would look for price to tap back down into this imbalance, or as like a market open gap. But yeah, let's see if it reacts to this. We could maybe look for some sells. Asia high taken out as well. Okay, definitely not then. Price is continuing higher. Clear momentum coming in as well. Actually, no, this could be quite nice actually. So we've had Asia high swept. We've had a regrab of that high. We've now had a change of character to the downside. And we have price creating this area of supply. So if we can get a retracement up into this area, I would actually be happy to sell from here. Like this. And again, the reasoning behind this we could still see price as being bearish, and this was just like a wick out of liquidity into that imbalance. We have seen it come slightly above, but notice here on the 4 hour, we've had that clear wick above and price then closes below. If we're going to look for more longs, I would at least expect, like I said previously, a move down to take this low into the market open gap. Okay, nice. We're tagged into the shorts. Let's see how this goes. Nice reaction so far. Yeah, nice. There we go. So it did come back up, and that's exactly why I don't make trades break even and then hit our TP. We've also now seen price tap into our buy point of interest. It's grabbed this low. It has also tapped into this kind of demand here. I'm going to monitor this area for some potential shorts, because again, potential longs. There are two different ways you can view this. You could view this as a sweep of previous highs for more downside, or you could view it as a 4 hour change of character after price grabbed the lows. So again, a bit more ambiguous, but let's have a look if we can get a trade from here. It is getting quite late in New York session, but let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the next day now. So next session, fast forward Asia. So yeah, maybe if we can get a regrab of this low. Yeah, like that. That looks pretty nice. We've got all of this liquidity built above in Asia session. Price is still holding our demand. Let's see if we can get change of character here. I need to see a closure above, by the way. A wick above is not enough for me. I think risk to reward wise, it's already pretty worth it. So I'm just going to do market execution here. We've got change of character. We've got imbalance. So our entry model is valid. All right, now price came a bit lower. I might actually get a re-entry here. So we've had another change of character after price re-grabbed the low. So I think we were just a bit too early. So if we can get a retracement into this area, stops below the low, I'm going to re-enter. Let's see, it looks like it's missed us here. Yeah, I'm going to cancel that now. That's annoying. We were just a bit too early with this first entry. You can see now price continuing up. So yeah, I'm going with that bullish scenario now, which is that this was a change of character. This was a retracement into the demand. So looking for more longs here. And yeah, just following the 15-minute structure, we've had this being the next breaker structure. I'm going to go to London session. London session opens. We've seen price come down, has tapped this demand and also swept Asia low. This could be a nice potential area. Let me just look at 1 hour. Yeah, this is also a nice 1 hour demand as well. All right, nice. Let's see if we can get an entry here. Nope, so price just flew straight up and grabbed the previous high. Yeah, that's annoying. Perfect analysis, but no entry. Yeah, and now we've also had a break of the main high. So if we get rid of all of this, at least now we have some clear direction. You can see price creating this clear bullish intent. And the next target for me now would be, I don't really see any reason why price wouldn't at least come for this high. There's not really anything stopping it from getting there. So yeah, I'm actually going to now on the daily view this as like a sweep instead. All right, cool. So looking for more longs after a retracement. Let's go to the following London session. All right, London has opened. It's tapped into this M15 demand, but we haven't seen a change of character, so this is not quite valid. Yeah, there you go. So it went straight for the highs, but there was no entry confirmation there. Let's fast forward Asia. All right, so Asia didn't really do much. Next point of interest, maybe this demand here. It's a nice 4-hour zone as well. I'm also just going to mark on this liquidity here, just so I know if it is taken out. Doesn't seem like it wants to pull back at the moment. Oh, there we go. That was some sort of news event. So in a situation like this, I would be happy to take the long if it comes back into the demand. But obviously here, like, there's not really much you can do after that news candle. It's just a bit of a mess. Still a bit of a mess here, to be honest. There's nothing I would do. It's kind of just like slowly moving up. It's quite choppy and range bound. It's still hovering beneath that liquidity level though, so it might be nice for some longs up into that liquidity. Maybe from here, we've had Asia low taken, we've had this previous low taken, and obviously this is the most recent breaker structure as well. So let's just see how it reacts to this. Still wants to come lower, it looks like. Yeah, let's fast forward Asia session again. Yeah, so starting to break higher. You can see price created change of character here, but there's nothing like entry wise. It's just very slow, efficient price action. Yeah, there you go. So price broke the high, but there was no entries there. It was just very choppy, slow price action. It has taken that liquidity level, but again, it's still quite bullish, so I'm not a big fan of trying to short from here unless we see something really clear. I'd more so just look for more longs. Yeah, there you go. Price very clearly continuing higher, and it's probably, yeah, it's about to take out this main daily high as well. So in a situation like this, there's not really much you can do apart from just wait and see if it retraces. Maybe from this demand, actually, this would be quite nice. Actually, this could be really nice. So Asia low built above this demand, and we've also got this inducement resting above it. Let's see if we can get a wick down into it. Or maybe price just wants to continue straight up from here. Yeah, that's strange. It just induced the area. Not really seeing anything else like point of interest wise. Asia wasn't taken out. Very choppy price action here. There's not really too much lining up setup wise. It's also taken that main daily high, as you can see to the left. Next idea. Let's zoom out real quick. So yeah, now all of this essentially becomes internal price action. So it's a bit irrelevant. Right, so yeah, very clearly prices continuing to the upside, and I would be looking for more longs. So next idea, maybe, what time is this? All right, this was late on a Monday, so I'm going to go to London. Maybe if we can see these lows taken. I think it took it out. Actually, my bad. The entry should have been here. This was our change of character. Oh, that's annoying. Just missed the trade. Let's see if we can get another entry. Being conscious of the fact here as well that it has taken that daily liquidity, so this is why you could see a bigger reversal. Yeah, again, so it's just doing this same thing, like it's wicking our points of interest, but it's not presenting a clear confirmation. So it's very tricky to trade situations like this. Yeah, there you go. Even though the direction is clear, it's quite difficult to capitalize on. All right, so here we can see what I've just noticed looking on daily chart. We've seen this high wicked out, and after this main breaker structure, you're obviously expecting like a deeper daily retracement. We've now seen this move down. It hasn't technically broken the structure yet, but you can very clearly see like after a wick out of this high, price is gravitating towards these previous lows down here. So I'm actually going to look for some sells down into it. If we can see price pull back into a POI. Something like this. So we've had a grab of all of those highs. Let's go to the next day though, because this is in the Asian session. We still have this area of supply above as well. I'm going to be a bit conscious of that. But yeah, sells down into that liquidity look pretty good. This now looks like it's just going straight down from here. All right, this is Asia again, so I'm going to go to London. Yeah, Asia pushed down. Perfect analysis, no entry again. Slightly annoying, but let's move on to the next. We have now had this kind of, again, one tip for you guys here. I wouldn't view this as a change of character because on like higher time frame, it's still bullish, right? So this, even though it's a lower time frame change of character, is usually just going to indicate a deeper retracement. Maybe, for example, down towards this imbalance. But I wouldn't view this as like a complete reversal, right? This is just probably going to be a deeper retracement for eventual higher prices. So yeah, in the meantime, we can look for some shorts, but just being conscious that this is probably just the retracement phase. This is the next area for the potential shorts. Again, very choppy price action at this point in time. Let's see if price reacts to this area. Yeah, nice. This is looking pretty good. So we've had a sweep of that inducement into the supply. Let's see if we can grab an entry here. Yep, so we've had a change of character right here. In terms of entries, we can enter on the imbalance just above these highs, stops above that high, and mechanical 1 to 3. No, might not want to pull back for us here. Let's see, I'm going to keep the limit. It's still technically valid. All right, we're tagged in. Let's see. London Open. Still holding that supply. Yeah, there we go. Nice. So TP hit on that one. So I was still confident in that because it was, even though it did come towards stop loss, it was still holding the actual supply zone. So yeah, very clean trade. TP hit on that one. And yeah, price is now continuing lower, it looks like. We've now had a new break structure. I want to be a bit careful of this liquidity level because, as I said, daily time frame is still overall bullish. So this could just be a retracement phase. And this is the last daily liquidity before the imbalance. And it's also a daily demand. So this would correspond with seeing price sweep the daily demand zone. So this could be a nice potential long area if price does start to shift back bullish from there. Could probably look for another short down if price retraces before doing that. Maybe from this area. Let me go to the next day. All right, it's in our supply. We've had Asia high taken out at London Open as well. Also came into this refined zone. If not from here, we could probably see push up into that more premium supply. But yeah, let's have a look how it reacts to this. Slightly aggressive entry, but I'm going to take this. Reason for this, we've had a sweep of this high. We've then technically had a change of character. I'm quite confident in this one because we've got a lot of confluences aligning. We've had Asia high taken. We're in this higher time frame supply, and we are overall in an overall bearish market. Damn, no pullback, but perfect analysis. That's annoying. All right, on to the next one. Let's have a look. So now it has swept that daily liquidity level. I want to be a bit careful here. I'm actually going to set a limit, a buy limit here. So we've had this change of character. We've had price create an area of demand. I'm going to enter this, stop a little bit below, and I'm going to go for a 1 to 3 as always. And see if we get tagged into this. Oh, nice. Quick TP on that one. Tagged in and TP hit. So lovely trade. And you can see now price has started to push to the upside from that liquidity level we said about. And you can also see here as well, interestingly, we've now also had the higher time frame shift back bullish. You can see on the hourly. And yeah, look at where that happened. Perfectly on a sweep of that daily demand zone. So yeah, looking for more longs here now that this demand has held. No, maybe not. Price is coming lower. Last point for the longs, maybe here as well. Now that we've had like a regrab of this liquidity into the daily imbalance. Keep in mind this whole region here is a daily imbalance in a discount of the daily bullish leg. So this could very easily just be a retracement phase on daily. Yep, so this is technically valid. yeah, nice TP hit. So I didn't really explain that, but what I was seeing essentially was, you can see that once that daily liquidity level was swept, we had an M15 change of character plus an area of demand that was left imbalanced, and I saw price reacting to it. So again, this was the last liquidity before that daily imbalance. If you look on this like daily time frame, you can see that this area of demand was swept and we've had that impulsive move up, and I was expecting this move down just to be like a daily time frame retracement. But yeah, guys, let's have a look at the analytics of this so far. I did actually have to restart this session, so it didn't continue on from last time, just because I made a mistake with the filming. But yeah, in this session we took 10 trades, 8 of them won, so very nice. 1 to 3 risk to reward, and yeah, max loss streak on that was 1. We did have a period where we didn't really take many trades. I think it was like a whole 2-week period maybe, but solid results regardless, and it just goes to show you don't actually need to take many trades to make a decent amount of profit. So like here you can see we went from the 2nd of July to the 29th of July, and we only took 1 trade in between that period, but we still managed to make 20% across that 2-month period. So solid results so far, guys. And if you didn't manage to miss any of the previous parts to this backtesting series, I'll put the playlist up here next. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.